Do you prefer your glassware to have some functionality? Do you know the difference between borosilicate and soft glass? Have you ever spent any time with a lathe? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then it's time to strap on those goggles, fire up that torch, and ready your blow hose, because we're talking glass blowing on today's...
Maybe someone shot your parents and ran over your pet, and you spend your hours crying, just trying to forget. If your best friend moved to college, your lover ran away with someone much better looking and a whole lot better paid. Oh, but we'll be your friends. We'll be your friends.
All right, awesome. And hello, welcome to another week of We'll Be Your Friends, the only podcast to play second at DFO 3 years in a row. I'm your host, Taylor, a.k.a. Bart Scrimson, and to my right, for the millionth time, it's John. Hello, John. What's going on? How are you doing this week?
Doing great, man. Just spending life doing
Living
things.
the dream?
Nope, no dream.
No dream?
No one lives the dream.
That's true. Did you do anything fun recently?
No, not particularly. Just been sitting behind a computer and shooting things.
That hurts my feelings. We went to the movies last night, but that's fine.
No, I thought about that, but still nothing fun.
Wow. Excellent. Let's just jump right into it. We've got a beer this week. What is this beer, and what does it have to do with our guest?
Absolutely nothing. No, actually got a pretty good one today. Got Hop Hash by Caldera. They're in Ashland, Oregon.
Ooh.
And this is pretty cool. So Caldera was one of the first breweries to experiment with hop hash, which is a pure hop lupulin extract and scraped from the hop pelletizing lines. So whatever that means, sounds pretty cool though. I like hops, and it's kind of like weed. So
the words that you said were words.
So I'm gonna go ahead and pop it open and share it with our new guest here.
And speaking of our new guest, this week we've got our resident expert, blowing glass, Anthony, a.k.a. Frit of Priority Polls. Everybody say hello to Anthony. What's up, dude? How you doing?
How's it going, man? Thank you for having me on the podcast.
Thank you for being here, Anthony. I'm really glad that we finally got to have you come on. Anthony is an old friend of mine. Him and I, this is actually probably the first time that we've had a guest. Okay, besides Candace, this is our first guest outside of Oregon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, I haven't really had many people, right? Or am I wrong?
I'm thinking that's the case. I can't think of anyone else that's
been on from out of state.
Yeah.
You're our first New Yorker outside of
nice.
me, so thank you. Anthony and I grew up in the Lone Star State.
The Lone Star State of New York.
Of New York.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. That sounds good.
The Lone Star State that never sleeps of lights. The Windy Light City.
The Windy Light City.
Cheers, everybody,
Cheers.
by the way.
Cheers.
Try this beer. Oh, God, that is just not good.
You know, I actually don't mind it that much, but I am of a similar. I think we're on the same page where I don't like super hoppy beers.
Yeah.
Although this actually isn't as hoppy as I expected with the name Hop Hash.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty good, and I have heard about this where they take the hop dust and they basically it's almost like doing an extract to make extracts for weed, but they're doing it for beer, and it just concentrates that hop flavor.
It's cool stuff.
Well, I mean,
Cool.
it's definitely interesting how they do it, but
I feel like you lose
I do
a
not
lot.
like that end result.
You lose a lot on the nose, though. There's just not much of an aroma to it.
I didn't smell it.
I wonder if that's related to that process.
It smells like a glass that just came out of the dishwasher,
Okay.
which is accurate.
Well, it tells you there's not much on the nose if you could just smell
Right,
the
you can
glass.
smell the glass right through the beer.
But it's good.
It smells a lot like a cup.
Yeah, I'll give it a solid thumbs down from Taylor.
fair enough.
But
So you guys do this segment every week, and every week you're just like, and I didn't like it because I don't
Yeah,
like
the only ones he's liked are the ones I've hated the most, the more commercial beers that we had.
So John, let's explain. I'll explain it to you, Anthony. John is a beer snob.
Don't say snob.
We're in Oregon. This is the place.
Yeah, and rightfully so. The man likes his beer. He knows his stuff.
I'm not better
But-
than you, though.
Every once in a while, we'll have a theme or a guest that doesn't necessarily translate into a beer well that he can find, because he tries to make them make sense for the episode, right? One episode, our good friends, Better Humans, writers of the theme song, you guys know them, love them, we all love them.
Yep.
They have a song called Hams, which is
Okay.
about the beer ham, so that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I liked that beer infinitely more than every other beer he's brought.
Don't say infinitely. That's an exaggeration.
I finished the
The
entire
word is
tall boy.
drinkability? Is that
Yeah.
the word you're
So
looking
like
for?
when John,
Yeah,
when
exactly.
John pours the, and I wish people could see. Maybe we can get a picture of it this week to post for everybody if anyone's curious. When John pours the beer, my glass has like less than a sip's worth of beer.
And each time I pour it, I
Might as well
pour
not
less
waste it.
and less.
he pours less and less because he knows he's like, as soon as this hits Taylor's lips, he's gonna say it's disgusting. So why waste any more beer on it?
Yeah.
Exactly. That makes
So-
sense.
And I can barely get through that, but I got through a whole can of hams.
Well, there you go.
You'll fuck up a cider though. Yeah.
That's true. I do. like
I'm on the
cider.
same page. I do like ciders. I like sours a lot.
yeah,
so I can
it's
drink a
kinda
sour
sweet.
because it's
Sours
like
are great.
it's like a cheating beer. It's beer
Yeah.
technically, but I like it.
Yeah, exactly. I could drink a sour. John's had off podcast. John has had a couple of sours that he's brought my way that I get down with. It's got to be a little bit sweeter. I know he
Exactly.
laughs at me and say that beer taste, but like that like hoppy, just fucking like reminds you that makes you think that you're at a fucking kegger like for
That's where they
Beta
drink.
Delta Thamma.
That's where they drink hams at though. That's the weird part.
Yeah, but I don't know. Well, hams is like essentially like 90% water, so
Okay,
it's
exactly.
easy to get down.
My girlfriend likes the real serious beers, hazy IPAs and all that. So when we go to the bar, she gets the like crazy serious IPAs, and I'm like, I'll have a pineapple cider, please.
Pineapple
Like
cider.
this
Like
big
a-
dude, and she's like
An
tiny.
apple
Can
teeny.
you make that a cocktail? Is that kombucha? Ooh.
Like, can I have a cranberry and vodka?
Exactly, dude.
Is that Crater Lake's root beer?
When I go out, the only thing I really like is gin, and I don't care
Me
what
too.
it's mixed
I'm
in.
into gin, yeah.
But like, I just like gin. So when I go to the bar, I'm always like, I can just have a gin and juice, and they're like, oh, like Snoop Dogg, right?
What kind
And I'm like, no, because I just don't know what kind of fucking juices you have, dude. Like, I'm not gonna say like I don't want orange juice, so maybe you can give me a list of other juices I can mix my gin with.
Right. That's why I go cranberry, just because it's the safe. I'm like, I know they have that. But
should-
yeah, if you just say juice and they just give you some random juice, you never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, well, like gin and pineapple is pretty good.
That is true.
So like, yeah, and every once in a while they'll have pineapples, but like, I don't know, cranberry's all right, but I gotta be in the mood for cranberry. But either way,
Yeah.
we're talking about the wrong
Yeah.
thing.
Speaking of Pineapple Express,
Yeah, pineapple's right. No, let's bring it back to what we're actually doing. It's not necessarily just weed.
I know.
No,
I
it's
couldn't
true,
find a
actually.
segue here.
I think we should
going way off.
definitely nip that in the bud. I don't want everyone to think this is like pot episode part 2. This is glass blowing, so
Yeah.
this is a whole other thing.
It is.
Anthony, the reason I brought him on is, like I said, I've known him for a real long time. We knew each other back in New York. What did we figure out? That was like 6-7 years ago. Back
I
in the day.
think that sounds about accurate. It was when I was in college, so probably 2009 or 10.
Yeah, 10. Yeah, no later than 2011 for sure.
Right.
And we were
Jeez,
working
dude, if you
at.
realize that's a lot, even longer ago.
Yeah.
Jeez.
We're old.
We are old.
We're getting old. We worked at a glass shop together.
Yeah.
I was behind the counter. You were like providing glass. You were starting to get your thing, but you
Yeah, but I was behind the counter. So I
you
was
were
working
mostly
retail.
behind the counter.
We
Yeah,
worked for that
you knew
725.
you were friends with Max, so like
Right,
he hired
that's how I
you.
got in the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to be friends with somebody at that shop or an attractive lady. That was the only
That's
way
true.
to get a job
I
there.
don't
that's how
know.
most jobs are attained. Yeah.
I couldn't
I'm
tell you
neither.
how I got that job. So I was working at Chipotle, and there was which was across the street from the Hicksville Utopia.
Right.
And I just like we went in there one night, and they were like, "Oh, no hiring." And I was like, "Oh, fuck it." And I like happened to have like a resume in my car, so I just dropped it off in a box. I was like, "I'll never get a call, whatever." 2 days later, I get a call from Max. He's like, "Hey, we got your application from the Hicksville store, but there's one in Center Reach. I see you live closer. Like, do you want to come out here?" And I was like, "Fuck yes."
Oh my god.
So I went over there, and he's like, "So, why do you want to work at Utopia?" And like, I couldn't be like, "The bongs, man. I want to sell the bongs." But
Couldn't even say bong.
yeah, exactly.
Water
It's like,
pipes,
well,
man, the
I was
water
like, well, you
pipes.
know what? I come here and I shop a lot, and I like the store. Blah blah blah. He's like, well, did you shop upstairs or downstairs? And I was like, downstairs. And he's like, you smoke? And I was like, yeah. He's like, you're hired. Let's do this.
Max was the
That's a
greatest
prereq.
manager of all time.
That's all
Not
it
for the
took.
store, but for the
yeah,
employees.
yeah, exactly. He was great for us, but like for the store, it was no bueno.
Oh,
He's a good guy.
He's
like,
the
just
best
in
guy.
case, for whatever reason, Max, if you're listening to this, what up, dude?
Right.
But he was a
shitting
good
on
guy.
so
but-
you're the only person who's ever been actually hired the normal way
Yeah.
at Utopia ever.
and it was crazy. And
he told him over the phone he was an attractive lady. So
That's what it was.
I had a good time there, though. It was a great.
It was fun.
I would call it the heyday because I've been back there a few times, and it's just different now.
It is. I feel
It's
like it
weird.
must have been like that for every like group of people who work because that place has such a high turnover rate that like you walk in a couple months later and you're like, oh, hey, I used to work here. And they're like, yeah, cool story, old guy.
Yeah, right.
We went through
Whatever, bro.
19 people thus far. Yeah.
What are you here for, some shisha? You're like, fuck off, dude.
Oh, my God.
I've been selling glass longer
I'm so
than
glad
you.
that so many of our fellow Utopia employees have escaped and become glassblowers. Both Danny's a pretty successful glassblower now too. That's his main job.
The last time
and George
I came
as
to
well
the
is
shop,
out here.
Danny was out. Is he still out in New York, Danny?
Danny's still in New York. He's going to be here for the DFO in a
Danny,
little while, so he's going to come out.
Danny, I hope you're listening to this. When you come out, let's get you on the podcast. We'll do another episode.
Oh, Danny would be hilarious.
Danny would be great.
Danny is hilarious.
Danny is hilarious. I feel bad that George shouldn't come by, but that's fine that he's doing his thing. But
Yeah.
I'm glad that everybody, the good people, definitely got out and got something good, which is nice. You know?
Right.
Now we're all kind of like out here in Oregon, which is just Glass Haven now, right?
It is. It kind of. That's why I came out here, because it was. The funny thing is that the glass market for selling glass is not better out here than it was in New York. You could get a higher price for your work out in New York, as far as in-person sales.
Yeah.
But there are a lot more glass blowers out here. There's like back in New York, you're a glass blower. It was a weird thing. Although it's changing now.
Yeah.
But back in the day, it was like, oh, you're a glass blower. I've never heard of that before. But out here, everybody's a glass blower. So it is a bigger community out here.
You guys have dropped an acronym, the DFO. Is that some kind of
that's the Degenerate Flame Off, which was an event that was held for.
Sounds violent.
I want to say. I hope I'm not inaccurate. I think it was 13 years. I think there were 13 of them.
Sounds about right.
And they didn't have one last year. They used to have it at Cornerstone down in Eugene. That's where it was for years. And it's an amazing event. Glassblowers, the biggest names in glassblowing, come out and compete.
Oh, cool.
People sell
Some cool shit
materials,
comes out of there,
music. It's a great time. I used to travel out here. I would drive out here from New York for
Wow.
years to come to it.
Jeez.
Then I moved out here. They had it for a year since I've been out here, and then they didn't have it last year. This year it's in Portland, so we don't have to drive down to Eugene.
Nice.
And it is basically hosted by North Star Glass, but it's going to be at a place in Gresham. I don't have the address offhand, but it's called the DFO Family Reunion this time, because it's basically them starting it back up and seeing what the future of it is. But we're going to be there where Priority Polls is sponsoring it.
Hell yeah.
And
nice.
so we'll be there with some tubing, and it'll be a good time.
All of our fan
That's
will
very
be
cool. When
too.
is that?
That is something I wish I knew offhand. It is
We'll post-
in June.
we'll
It's
post
not
some
next
dates.
month, but it's the month after that. Yeah, it's in June. I think
Okay.
early June.
All right, well, if you get a date, let us know. We'll let
I'll
anyone
post
who's
it up.
listening, if they care, we will get them over there.
Yeah, it sounds awesome, actually.
Yeah,
It's a good
we should
time.
go check it out.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
especially if it's
knock
going to be
it.
closer this year, because
Sure.
like Eugene is kind of a hike.
Yeah, now you're going to just go to Gresham, which is not that bad.
that's not bad at all. We could definitely do that. Well, that's awesome. So, let's talk more about kind of like what it was about glassblowing that got you into it, because it's not really an easy thing to just jump into, I imagine.
It
I mean,
definitely-
maybe here it is, but out in New York,
Yeah, so it was a struggle for me for a while with glassblowing. So I have a strange path into it, because I definitely got into it because I was collecting glass pipes and stuff back in the day. I had a little, I was the guy who had the closet,
have a good
the
collection.
closet full of pipes and
Do you
stuff.
still have
like
all
that.
of them, or?
I have a good number of them. I have some of my early pipes and stuff like that. Some of them I've, like bongs and stuff I've lost track of and things like that. But I was always the dude who had like all these pieces, and my van was wherever we hung out. We had all our pieces in there, so I was always into the glass pipes, and I was like, it'd be cool to learn how to make these. And so I started out in Brooklyn. I went to a place in Brooklyn called Urban Glass, and that was a soft glass studio.
Okay.
And it was on the roof of a building, not the roof, but like the top floor of a building in Brooklyn. And but that's soft glass only, and they wouldn't. You couldn't make pipes there. That was like a no-no. That was like right off the bat. I tried to ask the guy on the slide, like, what if I made one and just put the holes in it later or something? They weren't down with it.
They're like, no.
But they asked everybody that day. They're like, what is, why are you taking this class? And they're like, oh, I got a Groupon. I felt like, I wanted to try a new thing. And they got to me and I was like, this is going to be my job. This is day one right here. This is my career. I'm going to be a glass blower. And
awesome.
I definitely didn't go for it from that day to now continuously.
Yeah.
But that's when I started it. I thought that like, okay, this could be my new career. I want to do this. I want to do something creative. I want to make something with my hands. And that was before I went back to college. So I did try to blow glass professionally for a little while back then, but I didn't have. The thing is, in New York, there was nobody to do it with. So I took some lessons. I took about 2 weeks worth of lessons with a guy in Port Washington. His name was Colby. and he had a place called Haven Art Studio at the time, and so I learned soft glass, and then I was like, I'd really like to make pipes, and he's like, oh, I used to be a pipe maker for like 10 years. So now this was 2005 or 2000, I think it was 2005.
Yeah.
No, it was 06. Okay, it was 06, which is still only 3 years after Operation Pipe Dream, which, do you know what that is?
Vaguely, I've heard it.
Ralph Nader and a bunch of people. Basically, that's when JBD and Tommy Chong and all those guys got arrested, and it was a big deal for the pipe. That's why I have a different name. I don't just go by my name, or I can now, but I had to come up with a name because you had to kind of hide that you were making pipes. It wasn't so entirely legal at the time.
Yeah.
So 06 was only 2.5 years after that had happened. It was still sketchy. So
yeah, exactly. It's like that was in a time where you couldn't even like say bong in a store.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and until just very recently, some states are probably still like that. But so it was hard to find somebody in New York, especially, to go, oh, can you teach me how to make pipes? Like, you couldn't just walk into a studio and ask that. But luckily, I got to know the guy, and he was like, oh, I used to make pipes for 10 years, and so he's the one who gave me about 2 weeks worth of formal pipe making lessons on the torch, as opposed to soft glass, which is what I started with.
Yeah.
And then from there, I'd just been self-taught since then. But it was really hard for a long time in New York, just basically working on my own, teaching myself, because there just wasn't anybody else to work with.
Yeah, there was nobody out there doing it. And that was like, 2005 is like still at the cusp of like people kind of being okay with the culture like that.
Right. It was real early.
Yeah, like movies like fucking Harold and Kumar were just coming out.
Right,
know?
exactly.
And like people were like, oh, maybe they're not so bad. Maybe there is some cool stuff in there.
Right.
It was very much still taboo. So like to be like, yeah, I make pipes for people to smoke pot out of. Right. It was like
right, and you had to pretend back then. Oh, everything's tobacco use only. I make tobacco pipes. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I still have that pink Elf. And there's a sticker on it that says for tobacco use only.
Right.
It's still on there.
That sticker on there.
And I'll never take it off. It's been on there forever because it's such a funny, it's like a relic of our time.
I forgot
almost.
You had the pink. I had pink Philadelphia too. That's one of the ones I lost track of.
I have it. I'll be honest. It doesn't get the love and attention it deserves, but I have it.
Yeah.
It's in a box in that closet right there. I just gotta get grunge off or something really good to clean it, because
hopefully they still make
it's
that.
the coil, so it's really, you can't just get in there with alcohol and salt and shake it up. You gotta soak it.
The most difficult piece to smoke ever. Yeah. I mean, to clean ever.
To clean, yeah, it's a great piece to smoke, but it's horrific to clean. So now you brought up soft glass and. Torch. Do we call it regular glass, or
what do we call it? So so the technical term for it would be lamp working is what it formally is called, because it used to be done over oil lamps with foot bellows, or you call it torch working, I suppose, or it's borosilicate glass is the type of glass. You can use other types of glass on a torch too, though. So there's
so other than borosilicate and soft glass, what is there?
So there's a lot of. Basically, glass is classified by its coefficient of expansion, which is the COE. Okay. Borosilicate's 33, which is the lower the number, the stiffer the glass is. So soft glass is, there are a couple of companies, they make 96, 103, I think is another one, 106 is one of them. They make a bunch of different soft glass coefficients, and they can't mix with each other. If they mix with each other, cracks.
Okay.
So, and then quartz, like what we use on the rigs for the nail, that is, let me think now, COE, like a super, super low number because it's extremely stiff. It doesn't, it takes a lot of heat for it to move. It doesn't really change size when you heat the crap out of it, which is good for that. Heating it, yeah. Exactly. I mean, because that's what causes glass to crack, is it expanding and contracting, and it builds stress and it cracks. So if that is a low COE, then it won't crack as easily. So that's the difference. What we work with to make most pipes is COE 33.
Okay, so that's like the standard.
Pretty much, yeah. So I mean, now the colors, they go a little one way, they go a little the other way, which is why some colors are difficult to work with. Some colors like to explode.
What would be like what's like the most difficult color, like a notoriously difficult color?
Yeah. You know what? I'll actually say for my shopmate Lance, Postal Glass, that the most difficult color he's working with right now was this Molten Aura color, which is a gorgeous color. I believe it was Mediterranean. It was a color he was working with.
Molten Aura?
Molten Aura is the name of the company, and it's a gorgeous color. It looks like a pale light blue, kind of. But this pale, like most pale, you'd think pale light blue, if you're a glass blower, you would assume that'd be an easy color to work because it's kind of a little bit clear, and it doesn't look like there's a lot of stuff in there to make it stiff. Okay. Apparently, it was the stiffest color he's ever worked with. Ever, and it was, there's some colors that are unassuming. They seem like they'll be fine, and they're just super, super stiff or super uncooperative. They have a memory to them.
What kind of elements go into these colors? Like
So
what
it's basically
makes
they're
them-
all different minerals and stuff. So
So you're heating up minerals in the process.
yeah,
too.
and I'm not going to know most of them offhand. I don't do my own color making. I know some of them for like you can make your own color shift colors with something called holmium oxide, which is just like a mineral that goes in with the. So I mean, borosilicate glass is. Now again, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I know obviously there's silica in it. All glass is some part silica, and then like quartz is basically pure silica.
Okay.
It's only silica, and then you add different things to get the other ones. Like I think boro is. See, I want to say the wrong thing. I think it's boron. It'd be stupid if I didn't know, but I don't really know offhand. I think it's boron.
Boron?
I think it's boron. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because isn't that like a...
Yeah, I think boron is what's in borosilicate. That's what makes it boro.
So
I believe that's right.
that sounds right.
I'll buy it.
Yeah.
Borosilicate glass is a type of glass with silica and boron.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
trioxide
I was like,
as the main
it's one of those
glass
things where
forming
like that's what I
constituents.
thought it was, but if I said it and it was wrong, I'd look real stupid. So I was just
They're
putting that
known for having
disqualifier in
very
there.
low, known for having very low coefficients in thermal expansion.
Right,
And there's like this
exactly.
really long number here. Makes them resistant to thermal shock more so than any other common types of glass. So
Right.
borosilicate, is that like, I guess that'd be like the same shit that like, you know, our pint glasses here are like made out
No,
of too, probably?
this is most likely soft glass. Yeah,
Really?
This is definitely soft glass for certainly for cost factors and just the way that this is made in a mold. This is like made in like a press like that. Yeah. So it's that's definitely soft glass.
Interesting.
Yeah, you wouldn't like if you wouldn't want to take a torch to that and try heating it up; it would blow up. Pretty much right away. Whereas like boro can,
I'm glad you said that because I was about to go do that.
you can take boro and kind of put it right into a flame to some extent. Like if I took that piece out there and put it right in a flame, it'd blow up for sure. But
Yeah.
boro can be heated up carefully directly from room temperature, whereas this stuff you'd have to put it in a kiln, otherwise you'd have some problems.
Okay.
And that's what allows us to do the technical shapes and the seals, the plumbing that's involved in making a rig and all that stuff. All of those technical seals wouldn't be possible with soft glass because it would cool down and crack before you had a chance to do anything really. It would be too sloppy. Whereas this stays stiff enough to do that technical stuff and still be safe enough to not crack.
So, like, when it comes down to, like, I'm going to buy a piece, right?
Sure.
I'm going to the store. Why would somebody want to get a borosilicate type piece over a soft glass piece? What would be the long-term benefits for someone? Like, if you're going to sell it,
Well, it's so really
What points are you
the
gonna bring
main
up?
difference between a boro piece and a soft glass piece is going to be how complicated you can make the piece, and certainly the amount of artwork that you can put onto it. There's way more techniques that you can do in boro. I mean, I don't want to say because there's definitely crazy stuff out there in soft glass. Just in the soft glass pipe world,
Yeah.
they tend to be on the simpler side. There is a guy who makes some pretty crazy ones out of soft glass, but for the most part, soft glass is your basic, grandma's boy.
More for
That bong
sculptures.
for that
okay.
classic, bubble bottom kind of thing with the little foot and
Starter bong.
yeah, exactly. Which what, they're not bad, and certainly for flour and stuff like that, they'll get the job done. But boro is just there's more techniques available, so there's a lot more complexity to those pieces that you can find.
So, speaking on that, then, what are some of the names of like the different techniques or like the styles of like glass blowing? Common patterns.
It's kind of hard to say because the words are all kind of there's real technical terms for a lot of the words. For a lot of the different techniques, Marini and Millefiori, Latticino, and all these Italian terms. Most of them are Italian. But that's where
What is a Latticino? Is that like when it's like the crosses,
it's like a type
right?
of twisted cane.
Okay.
And and all the different versions of twisted cane and ribbon cane have different Italian names for them, and filigrana, and like there's all like in all of this stuff
Baguette.
is from
Pepperone.
Italy. A very long time. I was just at a museum in California, to digress real quick, and at the Getty Museum, and they had some glass exhibits there, and I was looking at little perfume jars that had little wrapping rakes and little wigwags, like the same techniques that are on glass pipes in the store today, on this little perfume bottle from the year 1.
From one.
Yeah, from one.
What year? One. Which one? The
I
first
was
one.
like, oh, okay.
Jesus
So people have been doing
just
this
died.
for,
Yeah.
2,500 years.
Wow.
Because it's, those weren't the first pieces of glass, obviously. They were already deep into techniques by that point. And I was like, wow, that's pretty incredible. So, yeah, the other techniques would, then the terms that a lot of, pipes would be referred to. There's wig wags, which is like the lines back and forth and all that. And so that's like my company. We make line tubing for line work.
Okay.
Line work is how you would encompass all line tubing type styles. People would say line work, or there's, I guess you'd say scientific style, more like your bongs, your crazy seals, a lot more clear on the work. And I'm trying to think. Yeah, it's hard to boil down the different things because people kind of muddy up the terms too.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of people will refer to milli. They'll say milli. Have you heard that?
Yeah, those are like the little
it's a milli,
tiny
like an
pictures.
image. Yeah, I always explain to people like those cookies you get from the supermarket that have a star, and you cut them up, and the images throughout the whole. It's just like that,
Yeah.
But the term milli is short for millifiori, which means 1,000 flowers, which is technically a milli is an image of 1,000 flower images combined together to make one image, and that's an old Italian technique.
Yeah.
Technically, the components are marini, but we call them all of anything that's like that we call milli. So the terms kind of get moved around over time.
For sure, not confused. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like, because I've seen, like, or if we're going to call them millies, like, those are really interesting because it's kind of like those, you ever see them make the fucking, like, boardwalk candy?
Mm-hmm, same thing.
It's the same
very
thing.
similar to that.
Yeah, they take
love
these
those
glass
videos.
rods. Yeah, it's so cool.
So cool.
And it's essentially like just inedible candy because they take glass rods and they make like this big grid picture and it's like fucking huge. Like, it's the size of like a TV screen almost in some cases. And then they like, well, maybe not too. I'm over exaggerating now, I think, but still, it's pretty big. Maybe the size of a book. And then they heat that up and then they just stretch it out until it's like a long, skinny tube. And then they just like cut it into these pieces. And then they'll take these little pictures and like they're like of everything, like Scooby, Shaggy, fucking stars, horseshoes.
All the way up to
all that
really
shit.
complicated ones that are like pictures.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then they take them and then they... maybe you can explain it better, because to me, it looks like they just kind of like press it into the glass.
So you can do a lot of different things with them. You can do what's called a poke and snap, I guess it is. So you heat up the tip of the milli cane. It's called cane when it's all still together. You'd heat up the tip, get it a little warm, get the piece really warm. You stab it on there and wiggle it, and the stress is the point right where the material of the piece you're working on meets the cane, and it breaks it off. It cleaves it off right at that point, so you get a flat, thin layer, if you do it right, of that image left behind. And that's how a lot of old school people would use cane, like on old school pipes. It's just snapped on there like that. Or you can leave it thicker, and people will cut them. They'll slice them into coins and then polish the surfaces so they're like a little, quarter or $50 size coin of the image. That's another way people sell milli. Just as the milli itself, as opposed to putting it on.
I've seen them, they put them on the piece, and it's like kind of like a dome of glass over it.
Yeah, you could add a little glass over it.
So it looks like, makes the image bigger and magnifies it.
Exactly, lenses it up, yeah.
Is that something that you work with?
So I don't do a lot of milli work. I have done, pieces by request with millis on them in the past, but I don't do a lot of milli work. There's some people in my shop. My shopmate, Matt Dubois, he goes by Rad Glass. He does really intense Damascus knives that are millis. Basically, he makes milli canes of Damascus patterns using like books about blacksmithing, like actual Damascus patterns for blacksmithing, but he does it with glass instead.
That's cool.
And then slices them into knives or knife blades or even full knives of just milli patterns. They're really, really cool. So I'm definitely around it, but yeah, I don't do a whole lot of that myself. There's so many techniques. It's hard to you got to focus on a few, and I have a problem focusing.
Well, what do you like? Like, if you, out of all these techniques, what's one that you find yourself kind of gravitating or floating back towards?
So I do a lot of, basically, I decided that I wanted to be good at assembling the pieces and shaping and stuff, because in the early stages of Long Glass, whenever you'd collaborate with somebody, I would be hoping to be the person who basically handed something off. A marble or something. I used to be a marble maker only. I used to do mostly marbles.
I remember that. You had
and then, so then I would hand off marbles or a section or something like that to somebody, and then they'd make it into a piece. But that was heavily dependent on working with people who would be good at putting a piece together versus being able to then take their work and do something with it. So I decided I wanted to really work on my shaping and my assembly, and it was really helped out by starting to work on lathes, which is predominantly what I do now. Like, most of my work is lathe work now. Okay. So my style is mostly an emphasis on my shaping and the style of the actual shape of the piece as opposed to the work on it. Although now recently, since I co-own a line tubing company, I've been trying to do more and more work with line tubing recently. Yeah. That's the piece that I brought here. You'll see that has all that line work on it.
Yeah, that one was really cool because what I do like though is like some of your earlier stuff when you first moved out here, and I was following you on Instagram, like your cereal bowl ones.
Yeah,
those are some of my favorite ones.
You showed me those.
Yeah, they're so cool. People talk to me
really
about it all over the
more
place.
Of those.
Yeah, I went to Mary Jane's. There's one right over
There's
here.
some of those in there, yeah.
And this girl, she was like showing me pieces, and she was like pointing one out, and I was like, "Oh, this reminds me."
They probably
of my
had
buddy.
the cups, right? Was it a bowl or
no,
was
they
it a
didn't.
cup?
They didn't have any of those. They had.
Okay.
It was like a little tiny piece, and she like pointed it out, and because I was like, "Oh," like I was just looking at like little oil pieces, and she had this one, and she's like, "Oh, this is from an Oregon local guy," and I was like, "Yeah, it looks really familiar." It's like it reminds me of my buddy Anthony. She's like, "Oh, the guy who made his name's Anthony," and I was like, Frit, like Anthony Charles Frit, and she goes, "Yeah, you know him?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know him."
Yeah, Mary Jane's has a bunch of my work.
And so, I was telling her, if they had one of the cup ones, I would have grabbed it from them right there. But I was like, I'll just come straight to you and get it.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'd rather just do
one
that.
of those for sure.
So, but they're phenomenal.
So there's
cool.
a funny phenomenon with those cereal bowls. So I'm not the first person to make one of those. There was a viral post that went around. I think the reason it went viral, I don't know if it went viral first, but Chong shared it, or like I think it was the Cheech and Chong page. It might have been just Tommy Chong. I think it was just Tommy Chong. So he shared it, and it, we're talking billions of views. Of a dude called Puck's Glass, who made one back in the day, and it had a slide for like weed, not dabs.
Yeah.
And a bit bigger, a little bit different design. And he made it back in the day. So I was making a lot of these cup ones. They were drinkware, just to drink liquor or whatever out of. People kept saying, "I want to eat cereal out of it. I want to eat ice cream out of it. I want to do that." So I'm like, all right, I'll make some cereal bowl ones. So I made some cereal bowl ones, and that item is by far the item that's gotten the most attention and the most messages about and the least follow through of any item I've ever made in my entire life. I can't tell you, I've talked to 100 people about that thing, and I've sold, a few, but not a lot, like not nearly as many as you would think. My buddy, some friends of mine, Black Market Glass, where actually my girlfriend works, and some other glass blowers, they got together and they made some cereal bowl ones too. And then I had people messaging me like, "These guys are ripping you off." I'm like, I didn't even come on. I ripped it off from other people, which I said when I made it the first time. Like, it's a novelty.
And you're not buying it.
Yeah. Oh, and at the time that I made mine, as a disclaimer, the guy who had made the original one his Instagram wasn't working, and it seemed like he wasn't blowing glass anymore. I think he made some more since then, but it was a novelty.
Is that really like is the shape of the pieces something that really kind of boils down to people like, you ripped this off?
So that will happen. People do that. And a lot of it is people who don't understand what they're even. There'll be customers who just assume something like, "Oh, this guy invented this. This guy." It's like you got to actually check whether or not this was someone's thing
this
first.
This guy does this all the time. So
exactly.
He must have invented
exactly. But they posted a video of theirs also, which theirs was real cool. It was actually way bigger than the one that I made because he's got a pretty large lathe. And they posted a video, and it also went viral. It went through World of Bong, stuff like that. They got 5 million, 30 million views of them using these things. And I think they sold like 3-4 of them. Like, what I'm saying? And if you look at the comments, we're talking 20,000 comments. "I need this. I'm getting this. I'm hitting them up. I want one of these," But people, it's like one of those novelties. When then they hit you up, they go, "How much is that?" And you go, "It's $300." Or in their case, I think it was like $500 because theirs was a little more complicated with a milk straw and stuff. And people are like, "Oh no, I thought it was like $20." I thought it was $80.
Well, that's the problem. Is like, glass blowing is such an involved thing, and I've seen you do it, so I know it's hard work. And you got, to sell it, you're selling art, so you deserve whatever price tag it is that you're putting on it because you're putting a price tag on your work, in your time.
Right.
And I totally respect that, but in the unfortunate culture around the people who are going to be using it, not many of them are great with money. Like, I'm definitely on that spectrum. Like,
the demographic doesn't.
If I was great with money, cereal, I would have all of your pieces because every time you see something, I see something you do, I'm like, wow, that's fucking great. I want to pick it up, and then I'm like, but like I could spend like that $80 to $100 on groceries. You know?
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
I should
exactly.
do that. You know, like so it's always a thing like that because it's tough to kind of justify buying something that you're just going to smoke out of and dropping that kind of money on it sometimes.
Right.
You know, and I get that, but it's just it's unfortunate, but it's good because when you do make the sale, you get like it's like a nice big chunk of
Well,
money, right?
it definitely can be. So that's the other hard part about this industry is finding your place in it and figuring out how to balance the best use of your time. Mm-hmm. You know, because obviously if it's your job, you have to pay the bills and stuff, and also, you know, the inner feeling of I need to make, you know, my work, my art needs to be a certain thing. You know, I don't want to just make things to make money.
Yeah.
And then you also have to figure out from a marketing standpoint where you fit into the market. There's the cheap market, the proto market, which, you know, you'll make a lot of pieces in a day, and they'll go for a smaller amount of money each, but it adds up. And depending on where you are and what you're making, proto can be easier to sell than higher end pieces. It generally is easier to sell than higher end pieces. Yeah. Or you can make one higher end piece that takes you a day or two. It involves increased risk because if at the end of the second day the piece breaks, you know, that's it. You just get nothing.
Yeah.
Or, you know, whereas proto, if one of them breaks, you know, they're not all going to break. Hopefully, you know, unless you have a really bad day. You know? So, you know, you have to balance those risks. And then also higher end pieces, there's pieces, you know, when you could say a higher end piece. So like my work goes for $500 to, you know, the highest end, maybe $2,000.
Yeah.
That's high end, but then that's like middle high end. There's high end. There's plenty of artists who regularly get $40,000, $50,000 for a piece, you know, and they make less of them a year certainly, but you know, there's this high up there market where there are collectors that are waiting to buy these $40,000, $50,000 pieces. And then there's the low market where there's always somebody trying to buy, you know, a $20 spoon. And then there's the middle market where it can get kind of strange, you know. The market can be tough right around in the middle where you're too good to sell proto, but you're not selling, you know, $40,000 is ridiculous. That's like the top of the heap. Even $10,000 pieces, $5,000 pieces. Those really, you know, really good paying your real house bills kind of sales. Those are a little more regular than these middle ones. And the market's been changing a lot lately because a lot of the inflow of money from the legalization movement is starting to kind of balance itself back out. Like a whole bunch of people got stupid rich in a hurry and needed a way to do something with their money because you can't really put it in the bank if it's coming from you know, marijuana sales or something. You know, you have to put it somewhere, and you can buy a really expensive piece and then flip it to a collector, maybe another guy who's got some weed money. It doesn't matter to you, but then you get money you can put on paper. I bought this piece of art. I sold this piece of art. Here's my money on paper. So that made the market. That's where all these $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 pieces. Not that some of them aren't worth it, because there are pieces out there that have, you know, 5-6 people on it who all have 20 years of glassblowing experience. That's worth every bit of $200,000. It's art at that point. You know, there's $1 million paintings. You know, there's not a lot of money in paint on it. It is what it is. It's art.
People are probably not buying it to smoke out of. They're
right. But that's where that whole inflow came from, was from this market. And now that it's balancing out, there's, you know, I see 5-6 glass blowers every, you know, couple days. Oh, I'm quitting. I'm giving up. There's no money in this anymore, you know. And you know what? It is a fickle industry. Working for yourself is always tough, especially working for yourself as an artist.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
It's not an easy thing to do, and you definitely you have to kind of have little side hustles here and there to make sure that you don't lose your ass on a bad month or something like that, because it can happen, especially with the changing times and stuff. I've noticed a difference in the market also. You know, when people are worried that they might get nuked tomorrow, they're not going out and buying a bong for $500. You know. So when something really rough happens in the news or something weird happens, there's a lull for, you know, a little while. People aren't feeling that recreation money, you know.
Yeah.
Like they're.
Do you guys get like a spike during like tax season?
Definitely, but you know what the funny thing is like. It just was tax season. I didn't see that much of a spike. You know, like I didn't really. It wasn't like a huge inflow. There'd definitely be. You know, you might catch a good sale or two, but it definitely comes and goes quick.
Is there like a? Every company or business kind of has their like Black Friday, like holiday type season. Is there one that you like? I want to say 420, but like, do you really see that big of an influx, or is it like
not really? It's not that big of an influx. Christmas used to be. bigger for me. This year, I think I'm going to be a little more prepared for what I should be doing for Christmas, because last year I was a little more scatterbrained about it. I think this year I'm just going to make a lot of like heady line work Christmas tree ornaments.
Yeah, those
and I'm
are
going to
cool
make
'cause you
them
did
way
start
ahead.
making
I
them,
did
yeah.
some, but I did them so last minute. Like
Yeah.
it was like, a
They
week
were
before
super
Christmas,
cool.
nobody's trying to buy Christmas. You got to
Yeah.
do them earlier. So I'm gonna do a whole bunch of those way ahead of time. So
Smart.
that they're ready to go for Christmas. And then, see, if you treat those holidays the right way, I think you can make money. I used to make money doing roses for Valentine's Day and stuff like that. So, yeah, if you treat it right, you can make money at those times. But you basically just have to, and it's all about that different market, too. So proto markets do better and worse during certain times, and then heady markets do better and worse during certain times. So
Yeah.
I shifted. When I first got here, I was doing mostly clear stuff. I was doing a lot of proto stuff. I would do 5-6 rigs a day. Now, it takes me 2 days to do one. So it's a different situation.
What? So let's see. What would you say is probably like? I never know what to call the moment. Like your come up moment, or that moment where you were like, oh shit, like maybe I can really make this like a viable career where I can take care of like my rent and shit doing something like this. Like, when did you? Was there like a some little kid who came up to you and was like, I smoked your pipe, or
Oh wait, how old is this kid?
Right? Hopefully not a little kid, right?
Did he know the kid?
This 5-year-old kid, that was the moment I knew.
Yeah.
This 5-year-old
So
came
I
up to
did-
me and was like, bro, that's a
you're
good
shit.
pipe.
I'm fucked up, bro. I'm so high right now.
that pipe?
He's like, I'm gonna keep doing this. I'm gonna keep
I'm going
doing
to do
this
this for the kids.
for the
It's
kids,
for the children.
For the children.
Wu-Tang is for
Do
the
you
children.
have something like that? Like where you
So
stopped,
it's
like,
it's
at a
hard for me
weird place?
to say, because I've had my entire life I've had a level of undeserved blind confidence in my silly ideas. I always have ideas where people are like, don't do that. I'm like, why? It'll work fine. Why you just don't give me shit about
do
this.
it. Yeah, you don't know. me.
But as far as the thing that made me decide that I was going to be a glass blower instead of, so I was going to college for environmental sustainability, which I did finish, which was good. But the reason that I decided to just finish school and then do this as a career is I went in my it was right before my senior year of college. I was taking math in summer classes because I tried it like 3 times before that and kept failing. I went to Smart Kid College by accident. Like I kind of snuck in the back door, so all the classes were too hard. So eventually I wised up and
You're
took
like
the hard
the dumbest,
classes
smartest kid.
at Suffolk Community College instead. But so I actually didn't finish this math class I was taking. I failed it again that summer because instead of going to the end of it, I went to AGI, the Art Glass Invitational, which is an event that was held it's still being held actually in Pennsylvania in the middle of the woods. And it's an event for all just glass blowers. It's like camp. It's like camping. There's tents and stuff, and you all just blow glass together, and there's demos and classes and stuff like that. And I went to that as, I had been blowing glass for about 4 or 5 years at that point, but very like on the same level for 4 or 5 years. Like I didn't get anywhere. I was just making the same spoons that the mouthpiece wasn't finished on and shit like that because I had nobody to really teach me. I was just working off of figuring it out. And the internet, like, it's weird to think how like we grew up in the last 10 years with this insane difference between YouTube didn't exist then.
Yeah.
Like 2006,
there
was
like
no YouTube.
right on that cusp. There are kids who grow up with it where YouTube.
That was
is
even
this
later.
big
So that
thing.
was 08. Yeah.
Yeah, and like it wasn't really a thing. So like you weren't like.
Oh,
Like,
just
you're like,
learn
oh
this.
shit, how do I learn how to do this? Like, it wasn't like, well, I'll just look it up on YouTube. That wasn't a forethought in anyone's mind at the time.
Right.
So you had to like actually go out and look for it.
It was really hard to do that stuff. So a guy who I actually know was weird. I met him through my father told me, oh, this is this glass blower out east. I lived out in Riverhead on a farm back then when I was working at the store and stuff. And out east in Greenport, there was a guy who had a glass shop. His name was John Jude. And my father was like, oh, I talked to this guy. You should go out there and talk to him about glass blowing stuff. So I went out there and talked to him. And he ended up being my ice cream man when I was a little kid. Figured that out. So that was a small world situation.
Yeah, geez.
But he was like, you got to go to AGI. That's the thing. That's the place to go. You'll beat all the guys there. That's where you'll get. And I owe him pretty much everything because he told me to go to that event. So I went to that event, met a whole bunch of cool people that first year. and decided this is it. Like, I'm going to be a glassblower. I have to. Like, this is just too cool. You know, I was walking around the moment. You know what? Here's the weird. This is the moment. And it's not even about glassblowing itself. But I had a rig, which was like the third rig I'd ever made. It was super, super shitty looking. But I was walking around. I had a beer in one hand. I had this rig in my other hand, like it was a beer. Walking around this like group of people, and again, this is 2007 or something like that. It wasn't like out here that's normal, but it wasn't normal, especially in New York or Pennsylvania back then.
No way.
And I was like, this is amazing. I can be like a normal person. I can be like a weed smoking guy, but I can walk around at this thing like I have a beer in my hand. Like, this is it. I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life. You know, this is the way that I can live like this without being judged. You know,
Yeah.
Just
so
exist
that was
as yourself. Yeah. That's a good
exactly,
moment.
exactly, and that event definitely changed. Not only because of the event itself, but because of that, I met a lot of people who I then, started my journey through. You know, like people I met at that event are the people I stayed with over the years, traveling on the road and stuff like that.
That's awesome. And now, speaking of traveling on the road, because we're getting to this cusp here, so I want to kind of wrap up with you. You said you had a real good story on tap. You were like, I thought of one, and you looked it over.
It's not exactly a glass blowing story, I suppose, but in the questions that I got.
Well, it doesn't necessarily. I mean, you
road.
travel a lot.
Yeah,
you know, you're on the road. You were going from even back then. You were going from New York, like you said, to Pennsylvania, to Oregon, and you've been back and forth across the country with this glass.
I should probably just mention so the main travel thing I did. So after I graduated, I did some traveling across the country. I lived in Seattle briefly with a glassblower, and he was named Seth True, and he was basically living this glass life where he just traveled around with his suitcase and just worked in people's shops. And I was like, I want that life. I'm moving here. I'm following you. Whatever you want to do, I'll drive. Let's do this. That was a crazy idea because this dude he's an awesome guy, and I owe him a lot in this glass industry too because he introduced me to a lot of people, but. Definitely a crazy dude, and we did some sketchy things on that trip. Just traveling around out of the rented Prius, and so that was the beginning of my glass life, which eventually led to me and George, who you also know used to work at Utopia with us. We bought a trailer for $800. I restored it to whatever extent. It had aft bedroom and a bedroom in the front, so we could have our own spaces and stuff. Kitchen, a bathroom with a shower in it. And we towed that thing 10,000 miles across the country for about 3-4 months.
Damn.
Basically an entire summer. We were in Illinois for a while, out west, DFO. That's actually how I'm sitting here right now because we met the guys from Liberty Glass on our adventures, both in Texas, and then ran into them again here and went over there and worked, and that's where I work now. So that's where we rent from now. But the crazy story came from those travels with that dude Seth on the first journey. So we were. I'm gonna leave out some of the names. I'm gonna leave out the names of people who might not look the best in the story. But listen, nobody was really doing anything that was
fun.
Necessarily. Anyway, so we were in where were we? Medford, Oregon.
Like 4 people.
This person's gonna figure out who they are if they ever listen to this. But
well, lucky for you, we don't have a great fan base.
Right, I'll be sure not to let them know about it. But so we were in Medford, Oregon. We were traveling. This was after the DFO. We were on our way south to go down to California for another glass event, and we stopped off at this dude's house. He lived 15 minutes down a private dirt road. There's other houses back there, but this is off the beaten path in Medford, Oregon. You guys know Medford at all?
Yeah.
You're familiar with the area? So, he had, a decent house that was like a lifted up, couple of double wide situation. And then he had like an old beat up double wide that was the studio.
Yeah.
It's a great setup. There's weed plants growing over there. I was like, this is great. And this is my first kind of round of traveling on the road. So it was sort of, still new. I was like, ooh, there's weed plants over there. This is crazy. This is awesome.
What?
Oh, how great is this? It's so beautiful. And it was really beautiful out there.
I can only imagine.
So I'm blowing glass there. We're all set up. We're making collabs and stuff. And it was me, Seth, the dude whose house it was, his kid who worked with him tending the farm, if you will, who was blowing a little glass too. But like he was basically his farm hand. And this dude whose house it was, and then our buddy Gremlin, who is another local Portland dude. I just met him on this trip, at this time. And then, so, we're all there, we're blowing glass, working on some pieces, and then there's a commotion outside, and the farmhand comes bursting in the door and yells the dude's name. I'm going to try not to yell his name.
Let's call him, let's make
Call him Bob.
Yeah, Bob.
Because that's not his name. So.
Yeah, there you go.
Bob,
His name's actually
calls
Robert.
us. So we, I'm trying to remember his name, so it's good. I don't remember his name offhand.
The irony is, it's actually Bob.
It is Bob.
It actually ends
is
up being
Bob.
Bob.
No, it's not Bob.
Call him Cornelius. We know his name is Cornelius.
So we run out. So he goes outside. There's a dude doing a donut, like in the middle of his property in a pickup truck. Like just ripping up his. I mean, it was just dirt, but doing some vandalism. And we're like,
Very rude. Yeah.
oh shit, what's going on here? So this guy takes off. And he's hopping on his ATV. There were 2 ATVs and a Rhino. I don't know if you know what a Rhino is. It's like a car ATV, a little ATV car.
Deep Medford.
Single seat.
Deep
seater.
Medford.
Yeah.
Everyone's got 4-wheelers and gators
That's-
on deck.
To give you an idea where we were. And
squad.
so we go. I said this. I go, you need help? Because I'm trying to be that guy. Like, we're staying at your place. You need help defending your land or whatever. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. He goes,
Hey, grab good.
yeah, right.
I've got a glass one.
Like, what am I going to do? Yeah. So he goes, he's like, yeah. So he takes off. Seth hops on one of the ATVs. I hop in the Rhino. Gremlin's in the back of the Rhino. The other ATV that Seth's on, it never starts. So this is where we leave him for a while. So we head out to the end of the road. And we get to the driveway. I'm looking. I don't see him. Like I don't see anybody now. It's just darkness out there. I look up the dirt road. And I could see headlights at the top. And I'm like, they're up there. Let's go. So we go heading up the road. We get to the top of the hill. And now the truck is now facing us in the road. The headlights are pointed at us. And the guy's house it was, he's on the Cornelius. That's what we're calling him. Yeah. So Cornelius is on his ATV.
Oh, corny.
The pickup truck races up and stops short right next to him. He gets a good look at who's in the driver's seat. And he said to us, let's go. I think he said, oh, fuck. That's what I thought he said. That's what I heard.
Okay.
So he just takes the fuck off. He's gone.
Yeah.
Burn down the road. And now these 2 dudes get out of the pickup truck. So now it's me,
you,
and Gremlin on the side of the road in this Rhino. And I said, don't get out of the thing, like stay on it so we can get the fuck out of here. So it's too late. He had already hopped out, so now I can't just take off.
Stay so we can both run.
So now we're in this situation. Dude comes up to us, he's drunk. I'm thinking I didn't process that he could know this guy. I don't know why I didn't, but in my brain, things are happening quick. I'm thinking it's just a drunk guy doing donuts and we gotta yell at him or something. Yeah. Immediately after he took off, I realized he knows exactly who this is.
Yeah, because he took off.
Because he took off when he saw him. So I was like,
I'll kill us.
So he comes up to the thing. And I'm like, listen. I was like, what's going on, man? Like, what's happening here? We don't know what's going on. We want to, And he shakes my hand. And now, keep in mind, I'm a lot bigger than Gremlin is. Yeah. So there's 2 of us, but this guy's about my size, maybe a little short, but he looked like he goes to the gym. I'm just this size normally. and so he shakes my hand, seems fine. Shakes Gremlin's hand, but as he takes Gremlin's hand, he pulls him in and clocks him in the head. Just punches him right in the head. I'm like, God damn it! Now this is the thing. But they're not really successfully fighting. They're kind of rolling around in the leaves, stumbling around the thing while I'm like, chill the fuck out, because I don't want to fight this guy, because we're in the woods. There's no cops coming. One of us is dying if we fight. That's it. There's no way this ends amicably halfway through this fight.
I know.
Right, exactly. I don't know. We're literally in the woods. This guy's probably got guns and knives and shit. Nobody wins when you fight. So... Luckily, that was the only time Gremlin got hit, was that one successful punch. We managed to scramble them to their feet, and we calmed the guy down. And he was telling us all kinds of crazy stuff that I'm not going to go super into on this. This guy did this. He was with this girl, and he owes me all this weed. I'm like, bro, I don't know shit about any of this. We're glass blowers. We're here. And then he goes, what? You're a glass blower? What makes you a glass blower? And I was like, I fucking make pipes out of glass. I don't know. It's not that hard to get qualified for. And he's...
my resume.
I was like, we were just down at the DFO, and then I didn't mention, so the kid that was with him, so it was this big dude who looks like he works out, and then like a dude whose dreads were bigger than he was. Like a skinny little dude with dreads, and I said we were at the DFO, and he goes, oh shit, man, we were at the DFO. And I was looking, I'm like, bro, we're fighting right now. Calm down. Like,
he's like, high five,
this is not, like, I'm happy you're happy, but like, focus, bro.
All the fight before.
right?
There's not this much talking.
Right, yeah. And so, yeah, we basically, to whatever extent talked our, the situation
Talked
down.
about it,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
look, bro, like, I don't know what this guy owes you, or I don't got shit to do with this plant situation.
Yeah.
We're here blowing glass, that's all we're doing, and he's, yada, yada, and he's like, I hope you realize he left you up here, too, right? I'm like, oh, I do recognize that.
Trust me.
It's been 20 minutes now, and he's still not back, so...
It's very clear.
More aware
So that's
of that
not
than I am.
great. Yeah. So we went down to the house. That dude got punched on his own lawn once or twice by this big crazy guy. And then we went in the shop, and I took a razor blade and cut my lines. We shut the gas on. I was like, we're getting the fuck out of here. We cut the lines. He comes in, he's like, oh, you guys, what a bloody, black eyes. Look, you guys are leaving now. Like, yeah, we're fucking leaving now. No, I'm going to sleep here. I like to wake up murdered. What the fuck is wrong with you? So, we packed our shit up and then loaded it all into the rented Prius and drove it Mach 10 down the fucking dirt road
On a Prius.
to get out of there in the
God.
middle of the night. We were just like, I'm not staying here to find out,
No, yeah.
what's going to happen next. And then I decided I wasn't going to stay anywhere
In
that had
Medford.
weed problems anymore. Like, if you're a grow up, I love weed. I appreciate
Right.
it. I'm not sleeping here. Like, I don't know what kind of problems you have.
Yeah,
what
I
kind
don't know your shit.
of mystery business partners you have somewhere in the world. I'm not dealing with it. It's not my
Yeah.
problem. I don't do it, so I shouldn't have to
That
deal with
shit,
problems.
like, that shit is always the worst because it always happens. You're like, oh yeah, this guy's cool. He's got a bunch of weed, and then like you're like, oh, now I get why he has
Just-
this weed. He's doing some shady shit. Let's get out of here.
Just a completely unforeseen situation. And you know what? And the dude who was mad, he was a crazy dude, like, for sure. I don't know to what extent any of his allegations were accurate.
Yeah.
They probably weren't that accurate. And later, I've heard from other people who knew who that guy. They're like, "Oh, that guy's crazy. He likes to go to bars and just fight people for fun." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm glad I didn't fight that guy."
Yeah. I got that
I'm
vibe.
big and shit, but I've never fought anybody, and that guy fights recreationally. So that's not what I want to do.
He does it just for
You don't
fun.
want to go toe to toe with a guy like that.
No. So I'm glad we made it through that situation with
Well, that's
just
a great story,
good
though.
story
Yeah.
to tell. And
Yeah.
and the funny thing is actually I rubbed my eyes while we were packing the car. And both my eyes puffed up so bad I couldn't see. Like 20 miles down the road, we had to just stop because my eyes. It looked like I got punched in both of my eyes. 'Cause,
Oh, my God.
Literally, they were closed.
Like I didn't even fight anybody, and I look worse than everyone.
Right, literally, that's what I was like.
Yeah.
I posted the video and a picture of people like, "Did you get hit?" I was like, "No, I didn't." Oh, you know what? See, I left out the best part of that story. Not the best part, but he did swing on me once while I was sitting there talking to him before we calmed him all the way down after the gremlin rolling around. He swung at me, and I again haven't really been in any fights. I'm big enough to avoid them.
like-
No, ninja blocked it. Put a hand up and caught his fist midair, deflected it, and was like, "Chill out, man. Come on." Like, I don't wanna
Jesus,
do that.
that's amazing.
I'll just keep doing that.
And
so
if
don't
I
try
tried
again.
to do that shit again, it would not work. Like,
yeah.
in the dark too. I saw his shoulder shrug. And I was like, "Wow."
Damn, man. Well,
Yeah,
I'm
so
glad
that
you
was
got out of
my
there safe.
my most intense glass blowing adventure story. I'd
That's
say.
a good one. That is definitely a good one, and a great one to kind of bring us into our
Oh,
next
yes.
segment here. If you
excited
listen
for
to
this.
the podcast, you know it's time for this week's activity. This week we decided to do another play on that famous game from Doug Love's movies, Now Buscemi, Now You Don't. This time around, what I did was I found a list of glassblowers. A lot of these names are out there. And
Lose miserably.
so I'm going to list off 3 names. 2 of them are real glassblowers. 1 of them is not. Anthony's got a joint. Let's spark that up for
I'm
this.
gonna do that.
All right, so simple rules. You each have your own little dry erase board. I'm going to say the names. 3 of them. You write down which name you think is not it. Keep track of your points so we know who's in the lead. And without further ado, let's get into this. So, round 1. Muck, slob, or slop.
Damn.
So the one that's not.
Well, yeah, you want to write down the one that is
He's all
not the
confident.
glassblower.
One's a Pokemon.
Muck, slob, and
Being a
slop.
Pokemon doesn't necessarily disqualify you.
No,
from
it
being a
doesn't.
glass blower.
But
Well, now
I'll tell you that for
So,
sure.
Now
once
you just
you-
gave me a hint.
But
once
no,
you-
I'm not
once
trying
you're
to
ready,
give
put
you
it
a hint
up
on
in
this
there.
one, but
put your board in the air like you just don't care. John says slop,
Damn
and
it.
Anthony says muck. Anthony is right.
He tricked me.
The answer is muck.
I thought he was presuming. Damn.
No, you fell
well,
right
there
into
might
his
be other
trap.
ones. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's a popular
doesn't-
subject.
it doesn't
Pikachu,
disrupt you.
Mewtwo,
Yeah.
or
I forgot to hit this light.
Second one, we've got Hondo, Darby, or Quimby.
what were time?
Hondo, Darby, and Quimby. Which one is not a glassblower? Now, let's also keep in mind that I put like maybe 5 hours worth of research into this tops. So
There's so many strange
so
names.
there's a lot of names out there. So if you do know someone and it happens to be the incorrect answer, we're gonna go based on what my research. So
Whether it be correct or
when
not.
you get it,
Truth
go ahead,
is
put
irrelevant
your,
in this
put
game.
your board in the
Just
air
like
you
Doug
just
Club's
don't
movies.
care. Yeah, exactly. Anthony says Hondo. John says Quimby. Quimby is correct.
Really?
Quimby is not a glassblower that I found. Hondo is.
Hondo is.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember because I know there's a condo also.
There is Hondo.
But I think there is also a
Hondo
Hondo.
I found.
That was a
like,
tough one for me because I felt like I've heard of Quimby, but maybe not.
Yeah, that Hondo was like one. So the
we got
first
1
list I
point
found
each.
was like online and had like pictures of their artwork and like little blurbs about them. And Hondo was like one of the first ones. It's like, oh, that name sounds like.
Oh, no. I'm stupid. I know
Borderline.
exactly. That's Hondo Paisan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so like some of them were like full names, and I only took.
That's
a little bit
what
of
what threw me in my head. I was thinking, maybe he was like trying to throw me off a condo, but yeah, no, yeah, I should have got that one.
Oh, that's okay. Hey, it's first time for everything, and John can use an uplifting win.
Yay.
All right, ready? So, number 3, salt, pepper, and Scolari. Which one is not the glassblower? John says salt. Anthony says pepper. Anthony is right. Salt is one.
Also, he's a big one.
He's a big one. He's one that I'm fairly familiar with.
He's been on a podcast too.
Has he?
Actually, yeah. There's the Torch Talk podcast,
Oh.
which I've only listened to the first few episodes of. I
have to
really
check
haven't-
that
I
out
know
now.
they've done a lot of them since then,
Yeah.
but the first few were really good. They were.
I
pretty
imagine
interesting.
there's a podcast for everything out
There
there.
is,
There's like
there
hundreds
is.
of them. So let's see here. Round number 4, we got Chunk, Crunk, and Badunk. Which one is not the glassblower? Chunk, Crunk, or Badunk? We got Badunk for both guys. You guys are both right. Obviously,
You
I
were
just
too
was-
excited to
I
say
was too
badunk.
yeah, I was
You
too
like
excited to make
badunk.
like Crunk, Chunk, and Badunkadunk. I knew if
Couldn't
I
help
put
it.
Badunkadunk, you'd be like, nope. But
Yeah,
like
you-
I thought
again, you
maybe if
never
I got
know.
rid of one of the does, it
Dunk
might.
Dunk Glass could be a thing.
It could. All right, this next one might be tough. Luda, Luba, and Luca. Which one is not the real one? Only one letter difference between the 3.
What were the 3 again, real quick?
Luda, Luba, and Luca.
Okay, cool.
All right, put your boards in the air like you just don't care. I'm going to assume that you meant Luba, right? Like Luba? Because it's either Luda, Luba, or Luca.
Yes, that's what I meant.
Okay.
I thought you said Lupa.
Okay, yeah, it's not Lupa, but you're both right, yes.
Luba.
Luba is the incorrect one.
Yeah. Luca is the owner of Illadelph.
Yep.
And Luda is another guy.
Yes. The reason I came up with that one is because I was like, oh, Luca and Luda, and for whatever reason, Luba like was in my head, and I thought Luba was the real one for a second. Like looked at it and I was like, oh, that's the fake one. Perfect. Round number 6. Banjo, saddle,
Oh, dude, I haven't been keeping score. I'm trying
cowboy. It's okay. You only got one wrong so far.
All right, cool.
I'm watching. So again, we got banjo, saddle, and cowboy. Which one is the fake? Both of you say saddle. You are both correct.
Nice.
Sweet.
Saddle is incorrect. Wow, you're doing a lot better than I thought, John.
Well,
You guys are both tied. You both only got one wrong.
I remember cowboy was one of them.
Right, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys only
Sweet.
got one wrong, so not bad. All right, ready? We got this is number 7. We got Schnook, Snick, and Shad. Which one is the fake? Schnook, Snick, Shad. Boards in the air like you just don't care. Schnook, for both of you guys are good. You guys know
Yeah.
that I am full of shit.
I actually know a lot of glass blowers.
I don't think
This
so.
whole time, that's my thing.
I hope that you're like just not cheating. If you're cheating, I'll be really upset.
What do I gain or lose if I win or lose? Like,
I don't know.
Just like on
There's
no prizes.
Points are inconsequential. They mean nothing. Number 8, Zach P, Nate D, or Kenny G.
Dude,
Who is the fake?
It probably is one of those, but
It's one of each.
one more time.
Zach P, Nate D, Kenny G. See, like, at this point, I threw in ones that were like... You think that Zach P is the fake one?
Yeah, sure.
No, Kenny G. That was one that I threw in there.
there could easily be a Kenny G.
There could be old. So I put that one in there because I was like, at this point, like number 8, I figured that John would be doing so bad that I needed to like toss him a bone.
But he's actually doing pretty
But
well.
he's actually doing really well, and he got that one wrong.
Yeah.
So you are in the lead right now, Anthony.
Okay.
That's just to prove I wasn't cheating. Now
Yeah,
I'll go back to cheating.
2 more. Last 2. See if you can tie it up or win. Number 9, Jip, Jag, and Jop. It's Jip, Jag, and Jop,
Oh, you know I spelled that wrong.
which is fake.
I wrote.
It's like Jif.
Jip. You both said Jip, and you're both
I
correct.
almost said Gip first.
But I shouldn't give John a point because he spelled it with a G.
It's like Jif.
I wrote it that way too, and then I changed it.
All right, so this last one, here we go. Number 10. Paco, Contrabasso, Black Mambazo. Which is the fake?
How's the first one spelled?
Pakoh.
Okay. And then
Contrabasso.
Well, it just tells me
the
it's
last one,
accurate.
Black Mambazo.
and Black Mombaza.
Now, Anthony is sitting at, I believe, 8 points. John at 7. So either Anthony will win or John will tie it. John says the snake one. So I guess it's
It
Black
does sound like,
Mambazo.
like a snake.
But you guys are right. Black Mambazo is wrong. Anthony wins,
By
but
one.
by 1 point. So I'm very impressed, John.
Or are you disappointed at Anthony?
I just had to check the spelling on that other.
That's true. I was which one?
Which gave it away that it was a real one. If
Right,
there's a
I know.
question
I
for
realized I
you.
gave it away because I wasn't sure if it was spelled differently. It might have been wrong.
What did you think it was? Paco.
Well, it's Paco.
What?
That's Paco. That guy.
Yeah. What did I say? Did I Paco?
Yeah.
Oh, is that wrong?
Which I was like, maybe it's Paco. Maybe that's
like
someone
that
else.
rapper
dude.
Dude, there
Tupac.
probably is a Paco.
That's just my. That's my.
That's the
shitty-
thing is, really, for this whole game, if we looked hard enough, there's enough glass blowers where all of those people
Oh, I bet
aren't
you.
all also. Black Mambazo, he's killing it right now, probably.
Yeah, he's probably making
Shout out to Black Mambazo.
Yeah.
His favorite glass blower.
Kenny G, Black Mambazo, and Badung.
Yeah.
Doing a collab.
Yeah, coming for it.
Collab.
So,
Beat
on
on.
that, man, I think that we are good to get this episode over with. This is great. Anthony, thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you for having
Thanks
me.
for teaching us good stuff.
Everybody should definitely check out what we're posting soon because we're going to put some stuff up with Anthony. He's going to show us how to make some stuff, which is going to be real cool. We're going to do a little photo shoot with him, get a little tutorial step by step. But Anthony, before we get out of here, do you want to plug anything?
Yes, please.
I guess just you can see my work on Instagram at Frit Class, and you could come see us in person at the DFO, which we will put up the
We'll get
location of.
a date.
Location
Yeah, a
date,
date
yeah.
and location.
And we'll be there, and that's also check out priority polls for material needs. We make line tubing for glass blowers, line tubing for the people, and we're going to be doing a special drop at the DFO with some rare colors and stuff like that. So you can find us there.
Sounds
Oh
cool.
yeah, John, you got anything?
Nope. Just website's coming up soon. I'm gonna put some stuff out.
TBD.
TBD,
Yeah,
yeah, real
you
soon.
guys check that out. It's gonna be real cool.
Yep.
We got a lot of cool stuff coming up. Marvel Madness, get at us.
Yeah.
We need people.
Get some
so
nerds.
Nerd it up. You can call in.
Wear
You
deodorant.
can come over. Get in touch with John or myself so we can get you booked on one of those episodes. Marvel Madness. It's gonna be great. Anyways, everybody, thank you for tuning in. And remember, if nobody else will, we'll be your friends. Goodbye. Hey, everybody. What did you think of today's podcast? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did we not mention something that you think we should have? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then drop us a line
at WBYF Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. Join the discussion at our Facebook, facebook.com/WBYF Podcast. And for any inquiries about episode ideas, being on the show, fan art, or anything you want us to see personally, send an email to WBYFpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks again for listening, and remember, if no one else will, then we'll be your friends.